Do we have the fear of God? Where we really realise who He is, rather than constantly dictate to God what He should do and shouldn't do. Did He know this and did He know that? Listen, God is God. He is not applying for the job. He's got it. What was wrong with Jonah? 2, he had a lack of faith. He had a lack of faith. Faith says God will do what is right, whether I understand it or not. It's a trust that I can be so obedient to what He's asking me to do, because ultimately God, as Romans 8:28 says, will work all things for good. Sometimes some things are not good, but God can take even those things and weave them into a tapestry of good. And it's having that faith. You know, when David saw Goliath, there were 2 possible reactions. The first reaction was, oh no, he's really big, I better run away. Second reaction, he's really big, how can I miss? You know, it's that kind of yes, that I believe. Jonah had a lack of forgiveness. Jesus said, for if you forgive other people when they sin against you, and your heavenly Father will also forgive you, but if you do not forgive others their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins. He had a lack of fearing God. He had a lack of faith, and he had a lack of forgiveness. Let's not have a lack of forgiveness in our hearts for other people who are different to us, other cultures. Let's not be prejudiced and racist, but let's be loving and caring and forgiving. Fourthly, he had a lack of faithfulness. Jonah should have been faithful to God in spite of how he felt personally. It is the will of God that matters. That's what matters. So when you analyse this story, this book of the Bible, 4 chapters. Chapter 1, Jonah runs from God. Chapter 2, Jonah runs to God. Chapter 3, Jonah runs for God. Chapter 4, Jonah runs into God. So let me ask you, east, west, are you running from God? If you're running from God, run to God tonight. For those of us that are running to God, let's run for God. Let's run for God. And let's run into God. If you haven't begun your journey of following God, can I urge you, can I encourage you to begin that journey of following Him today? I began that journey on the 9th of February 1975. I was a student in London. My friend Andy gave me a Bible, and over a period of 6 months was explaining things to me. And then he showed me one day, in the last book of the Bible, in the book of Revelation, where it says, in chapter 3, verse 20, there's Jesus outside of a door of a house, knocking. And it says this, if you hear the knock, open the door, let Jesus in. And my friend Andy read this to me. He said to me, have you heard Jesus knocking? I said, I think so. He said, have you opened the door? I said, where's the door? He said, don't worry about where the door is. Ask Jesus to break the door down. 9th of February, 1975, I said, Jesus, could you break the door down? And as I said that, something happened. I didn't understand what it was, but something happened. In the words of John Wesley, my heart was strangely warm. Wow. The light came on. My mother said I was brainwashed. I said, Mother, my brain has been washed. If you only knew, Mother, what was in my brain, you'd be pleased it got washed. And that was the beginning for me. That was the beginning for me. And the beginning of a journey of being obedient, surrendered to the Lord, to do His will, and not only to know His presence, but to carry His presence. So you can go into a spa and pray out the darkness because you bring in the light. Wherever you go, you can carry the presence of God. Wherever you go, you can be a carrier of His presence. And we can see His kingdom being extended, and we can see signs of His kingdom because we carry His presence. If you haven't begun that journey, begin that journey. Begin that journey tonight. Maybe there's some of you here, there are some of you over in the West, and you've not begun this journey. Begin it. Others of us, maybe we used to be obedient. We used to be surrendered, but we've got distracted, diverted. And what we need to do is refocus and realign ourselves. Let me ask you some questions that might help us to apply the principles of the story. Question 1. Are you reading the Bible for information or for transformation? You know, it's one thing to know the story of Jonah. Oh yes, I know the story. Yes. It's the story about that man and the fish. Yeah. Information. Have we allowed the principles of that story to transform us? Question 2. Is there anything in your life that God is consistently dealing with that you are trying to ignore? Question 3. Is there anyone you need to apologize to? Question 4. Is there anyone you need to forgive? Someone offended you, hurt you. Do you need to forgive them? Question 5. Is there a habit, an action, a sin that you need to confess and ask for help? Question 6. Are you fully utilizing the time, the talents, the treasure that God has blessed you with? Are you fully utilizing all of that? There was a man at an airport, and he wanted a coffee, and he wanted to buy a bag of very small donuts. So he buys his coffee, he buys his donuts, and he's looking for somewhere to sit. But all the tables are all taken. There's one table where there's one man sitting, so he thinks, I'll just go and sit opposite him. So he goes to the table, he puts his coffee down, he puts his bags down, he takes his coat off, he puts it round the seat, he sits in the chair. He opens his coffee, has a sip. He picks up the bag of donuts, opens the bag, takes out a donut, starts eating the donut, puts the bag down. The man opposite stretches over, picks up the bag of donuts, takes out a donut, starts eating it, puts it down, smiles. The other man cannot believe what he has just seen. I cannot believe that man just stole one of my donuts. What is the world coming to? So he picks up the bag, he takes out another donut, he moves the bag to the edge of the table. He turns sideways to read his finger. The man opposite stretches over, picks up the bag of donuts, takes out another donut, puts the bag down. The other guy senses it, looks round, and the other man smiles. So the man thinks, I mean, the man is probably... Yeah, the elevator is just not going to the top. He doesn't realize you cannot do this. But he thinks you better not say anything. Because, you know, the man might be violent. So he just gives him a bad look. Then the man, he gets up to leave. So the other man thinks, oh, it's about time you left. You donut thief. And then he looked at his watch. Oh, it's time for me to go. So he got up, he put his coat on, he bent down to pick up his bag, and sitting on top of his bag was his bag of donuts.
Él se dio cuenta que realmente él estaba comiendo donut de otra persona porque su donut de él mismo estaba abajo del tablo.
God owns all the donuts.
Esto dice, Dios es dueño de todos los donuts.
Every week,
Pero
you and I,
cada
we get a
semana
bag
pensamos
of
que
donuts. God gives every one of us,
a nosotros
every week,
pensamos
a
en
bag
que
of
las
donuts.
cosas
In the
son,
bag, there are
son de
10
nosotros,
donuts.
pero
Now,
realmente
the
el
value
dueño de
of
todo
those
es
donuts
Dios.
varies from
Nosotros
person to
solamente
person.
estamos tomando
So some people's donuts
de la
are
mano de
less,
Dios.
other people's donuts are more. Now, these are secular donuts. God says, I want you to take one of your secular donuts and I want you to give it to the church community that you belong to. And we go, I don't want to. No.
Dios
Why?
no dice
Because God says He
ayudar
owns all 10.
los demás.
He wants you to
La
give
gente
one.
necesitadas.
You see, it's interesting, isn't
Uno
it?
dice
God
que no
owns
quiero.
all 10.
No
I
quiero.
mean, He could have asked for 9. But He asked for 1.
Realmente,
You know,
mensualmente,
and some people go,
Dios
I've got
toma
10
solamente
donuts.
100%.
I need 11.
90% Él nos
If I need
da,
11,
pero
why
no
would
es
I give one
nuestro.
away?
Pero
You
nuestra
know, you
mentalidad
mad?
es muy diferente, es mío.
Listen, they're secular
Dios,
donuts.
tú no puedes
What
tocar
God says is,
lo que yo
take one
tengo.
of the secular donuts. When you give it to the church that you belong to and offer it to God, that donut becomes sacred.
Yeah.
When that donut becomes sacred, the other 9 secular donuts become sacred donuts. 9 sacred donuts are worth more than 10 secular ones.
Sí, verdad.
Have you given your donut to the church?
Tú has dado tu donut a la comunidad.
Do some of you need to give some donuts from the last 7 years?
Tienes que dar.
Now, some of us, we need our 9 donuts. You know, rent, mortgage, expenses, whatever. Children, we need them. And then sometimes God sends other people and they come up to us and they say, can I give you a donut? And go, oh yes, please. Yes, please. Now, different seasons of life, some of us don't need 9 donuts. So we give the 1 donut to the church, and we got 9 left, but we don't need them. Because we're in a different season of life. And that's when God says, hey, I want you to give 6 more to the church, to this
Yes.
charity, to this, to this, to this, it's all God's.
Sí.
You know, when my father died, I went to his funeral in Cyprus, and
Wow.
a Greek funeral, so like a whole day. It's a long thing. And in the evening, there was still many people in my mother's home. And my brother and I, we were just hovering with lots of men. And then one man turned around and said to all the other men, "Did George, my father, did he leave much?" So I turned around and said, "Yes, he left everything."
We don't know what is everything.
But I said it in Greek. In Greek it has a bit more drama. I'll do it for you. Ne, effiken daula, effiken do sofra kontu. Can you feel it? It had a bit more drama to it, didn't it?
De su papá.
Yeah. Did George leave much? He left it all.
Este hombre, su papá, él dijo bastante a la familia.
Send it on ahead. How? By investing it in others who help people to get there. See? So this is just a simple example. Are we good stewards of the time, the talents, and the treasure that God has given us? Are we doing what God has asked us to do? Are we doing that? Do you know, a couple of years ago, I was preaching in this city, 10,000 people were coming to the meetings. In the middle of these meetings, I felt the Lord say, "It's time. I want you to proclaim my good news in the football stadiums of Britain." And I thought he was talking to someone else. Because we were, you know, we were having good ministry, good meetings, and I thought, no, football stadium. You see, that was a big jump from 10,000 to 50,000, and it kept coming up. And I kept pushing it down. It kept coming up, pushing it down. And I thought, maybe it's the Lord. And if I'm not going to do this, I'm disobeying God. So then I thought, okay, let's have a go. You know, there was an amazing missionary called William Carey from England to India. He had a motto: expect great things from God, attempt great things for God. So I thought, okay, let's have a go. And we thought, which is the best football stadium in London? Best football stadium in London is, irrespective of which football team you support, it's Arsenal. As a stadium, because it's the newest stadium, it's high tech, it's incredible. So we thought, let's ask them. So we asked the Emirates, can we book the football stadium?
Wow.
They said we only rent it out 3 days a year, and we normally only rent it to Coldplay and U2. So we're not going to rent it to you. So we thought, maybe we got the wrong stadium, maybe we got the vision wrong. 3 months later, they phoned us up and they said, we've changed our mind. We want you to have it. Isn't it interesting? You see, when you're doing God's will, you don't have to worry about things. So even when they say no, you don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
It's like, if it's God, things will change. Anyway, and we said, they offered us 3 days. Which is amazing. And we said we don't want 3 days. We want 1 day. We're calling it just one. Just 1 day, proclaiming just one message, and we want 25,000 Christians to bring just one friend, or just one relative. And we'll fill the stadium with 50,000. And then after that, we'll do about 42 other football stadiums around the United Kingdom. So that's what we're doing at the moment. This is what we've embarked on. Do you know how much that's going to cost us? £1 million.
Wow.
I know. Occasionally I worry. But Jesus said, do not worry. And I said, I'm sorry, Lord, I'm worrying when you said don't worry, but it's a lot of money. And it's like, Jesus, you know you're very busy with world affairs, and you may not realise that £1 million, £1 million million, something like a million. What are you doing? 1 million? People say to me, are you worried? No.
Esa no es de Dios de dinero.
The Lord owns the cattle on 1,000 hills.
Dios es dueño
We only need a milk jug. See, God can sell some of the cattle and just send us a little milk jug. Okay, so look, you got 10 donuts. You give your donut to the church every week. Then you've got 9. So you just get on with living. Now, those of you that are in a position to give away some other donuts, give them away. Yeah. Invest them in the ministries of your church.
God,
and if you've got a spare donut, give it to me. I'll use it to evangelise Britain, because Britain came and evangelised Singapore. Amen. So you can put something back.
Amen.
It's not a bad idea, actually. Question 7. I forgot to ask Pastor Danny how much time I've got. Are we doing all right? Is it time to wrap up? He's happy. If the pastor's happy, we're all happy. Question 7. Is God asking me to serve in some practical way in the church? Killy and I, at our church, we were at church, and the pastor would get up many Sundays, and say, we need more people to help with the creche, the babies. We need more people to help with the youth. We need more people to help with the lunch with the senior citizens. We need more people to be on the coffee rota. And every now and again when I used to hear this, I used to get bored. I was like, I heard this the last time I came. And I used to think, it's not for me, because I'm a global evangelist. I'm not going to go and do nappies with babies. Anyway, I was sitting there one day, listening. This is not relevant to me. And then it said the coffee rota. And at that moment, I got a quiver in my liver. You know when something moves in here, and you know it wasn't the curry from the night before? You know it's something a little bit different? And I felt the Lord say, I want you to go on the coffee rota and serve coffee. I said, excuse me, Jesus. I don't know if you know, I am an evangelist. I mean, what a stupid thing to say to Jesus, because he's the one that appointed me as an evangelist. Of course he knows I'm an evangelist, and I'm now having a conversation. Jesus, I'm not a barista. But I knew that God said, I want you to do this. So I thought, okay, but I'm not going to do it without my wife. So we walked out of church, I said, Killy, I think the Lord has called you and me to go on the coffee rota. She's not stupid, she knows. And she's like, all right. So I went and saw the lady who's in charge of the coffee rota. I said, I've come to sign up for the coffee rota. She laughed.
She said, you're the evangelist.
Are you serious? I said, yes. Now, we would go to church once every 6 weeks. It's not because we're backsliders. It's because we're doing missions all over the world. Okay? But once every 6 weeks, we're in church. So I said, can I give you all my dates that I'm going to be in church? And I'll be on the coffee rota. Do you know, Killy and I, we loved it. We had to get up early in the morning, get there early, set it all up, serve the coffee after the service, and clear up.
Wow.
We did it for 3 years. I loved it. Why? I met more people in 3 years serving coffee than I had the previous 14 years. God had a reason.
Yeah.
It was great. And you know, it was amazing. We did it for 3 years. And then God says, that's it now. It's lovely when God says, that's it now. And I was like, Lord, I like this. I know now how to work the machine. It took me 3 years to learn the machine. Question 8. Are you allowing people or circumstances to steal the joy that Jesus promised you? 9. Who are the people in your life that God has placed around you for the purpose of sharing Jesus with? You know, if my friend Andy didn't tell me about Jesus, what would I be doing now? Oh my word. Running a Greek kebab house. I don't know. What would I be doing now? 10. Have you surrendered your life to Christ, committed to doing His will? That's the story. In other words, are you in the will of God? Everyone here in the east, everyone in the west, please stand.